Have you ever wondered how far human resilience can stretch in the face of extreme adversity? Imagine being aboard the Uruguayan Air Force Flight 571. It's October 13, 1972. The plane, carrying 45 souls, including a team of young, vibrant rugby players, is soaring above the vast expanse of the Andes Mountains. Then, the unthinkable happens. A crash. A cacophony of metal against rock, a sudden plunge into the icy coldness of the mountain range. The plane, once a symbol of technological advancement, is now a twisted wreck, a stark contrast to the serene snow-covered landscape. The survivors are left stranded, isolated in the piercing cold, surrounded by the towering peaks of the Andes. Their world has been reduced to a desolate expanse of white, their reality, a fight for survival. They were left stranded, surrounded by the harshness of the Andes, unaware of the 72-day ordeal that awaited them. In the chilling cold of the mountains, survival was not a choice but a necessity. The harsh reality was that they were stranded in a remote, desolate landscape, where the only law was the unforgiving law of nature, survival of the fittest. As the gravity of their situation sank in, the survivors began to strategize. The wreckage of the ill-fated Uruguayan Air Force Flight 571 became their makeshift shelter, a beacon of hope amidst the icy desolation. It was here, in the belly of their fallen bird, that they huddled together for warmth, their breaths frosting in the frigid air. Food, or rather the lack of it, was a looming concern. Their supplies were meager, just a few chocolate bars and bottles of wine salvaged from the wreck. Rationing became a matter of life and death. Each morsel was a precious commodity, each sip of wine a luxury they could ill afford. Yet they persisted, every small bite a testament to their will to survive. Leadership roles emerged naturally among the group. Some took charge of rationing the food, while others were responsible for maintaining the shelter. These leaders became the pillars of strength, their decisions a lifeline in the face of adversity. But it was the collective spirit of the group, their unity in the face of adversity, that truly defined their battle for survival. But as the days rolled on into weeks, the grim reality began to set in. Their food supplies were dwindling at an alarming rate, and the hope of rescue seemed to be fading into a distant dream. The unforgiving cold, the gnawing hunger, and the gnawing uncertainty began to take a toll on their bodies and spirits. Yet they held on, each day a battle, each night a victory. They huddled together for warmth, their collective breaths a testament to their undying will to survive. They shared stories and dreams, their laughter echoing in the desolate mountains, a beacon of hope in the face of despair. As days turned into weeks, their hope of rescue dwindled, along with their food supplies. But their will to survive, their unwavering spirit in the face of adversity, that was something that remained unbroken. When pushed to the edge, humans can make unthinkable decisions. This statement rings true for the survivors of the Uruguayan Air Force Flight 571 crash. Faced with extreme conditions, they were forced to make a decision that would forever mark their lives. The survivors had been stranded in the freezing wilderness for more than a month. Food supplies were long exhausted, and the harsh climate offered little in terms of sustenance. The reality was brutal and harsh, but more than that, it was a matter of life and death. The group, once filled with hope and determination, was dwindling. One by one they were succumbing to the unforgiving cold, the relentless hunger. It was in this dire situation that the survivors made a choice that would shock the world. In their desperation, they turned to the bodies of their deceased friends. The decision was not taken lightly. It was made after days of agonizing debate, filled with tears and torment. Each individual had to grapple with their personal beliefs, their moral compass, and the instinct to survive. They were ordinary people, not hardened survivalists. They were young men with dreams and ambitions, not seasoned soldiers accustomed to the brutalities of war. They were people who loved and were loved, not cold-hearted villains. Yet, they were pushed into a corner where the rules of civilization no longer applied. The decision to resort to cannibalism was a desperate measure, taken in the most desperate of circumstances. It was a decision born out of a primal instinct to survive, to see another day, to hold on to the faintest glimmer of hope. The survivors later described this choice as the most difficult they had ever made. It was a decision that haunted them, a decision they wished they never had to make. But in the harsh wilderness, faced with the stark reality of life and death, they had to confront the horrifying truth. This decision, while horrifying, was the hard reality they had to confront to stay alive. With no sign of rescue, two brave souls decided to take matters into their own hands. This is the story of Nando Parrado and Roberto Canessa, two survivors of the Uruguayan Air Force Flight 571 crash. With their fellow survivors' lives hanging by a thread, they made the bold decision to trek through the treacherous Andean mountains in search of help. Their journey was nothing short of heroic. Armed with little more than a makeshift compass and the will to survive, they embarked on a 10-day trek through a hostile landscape. Every step was an uphill battle against biting cold, icy winds and the ever-looming threat of avalanches. They were in a race against time, their own physical limitations, and the unforgiving elements. Bitter cold was their constant companion. They had to sleep on the snow, without the warmth of a fire, enduring freezing nights that could easily snuff out their lives. Food was scarce and their bodies were already weakened from weeks of starvation. Yet, they pressed on, driven by the thought of their friends waiting, hoping, praying back at the crash site. But it wasn't just the physical challenges that tested their mettle. The mental torment was equally grueling. Imagine the weight of carrying the hopes of 14 lives on your shoulders. Imagine the fear of not knowing what lies ahead, or if you'll ever make it back. Yet, these two men faced those fears, fought those doubts, and soldiered on. Their perseverance was rewarded on the 10th day when they spotted a man on a horse in the distance. Civilization, at last. Their joy was indescribable. They had made it. They had trekked across the Andes and found help. Their journey was over, but the rescue mission was about to begin. Their courage and determination led them to civilization, bringing hope to their fellow survivors. Parrado and Canessa's journey was a testament to the strength of the human spirit, a vivid demonstration of the lengths to which people will go when survival is at stake. They were not just survivors, they were heroes. Their brave trek through the Andes remains one of the most inspiring stories of survival against extreme conditions. The tale of Uruguayan Air Force Flight 571 is more than a survival story. It is a chronicle of the human spirit's resilience, an account of how the darkest circumstances can, paradoxically, illuminate the brightest facets of our shared humanity. In the aftermath of their rescue, the survivors faced a new challenge: dealing with the trauma. The world was quick to judge, to point fingers and whisper. Yet it was the survivors who had to live with the memories, the nightmares, the guilt. They had to find a way to reconcile the unthinkable with the everyday, to weave together the threads of their shattered lives into a fabric that could withstand the weight of their experience. Yet they did not face this challenge alone. The bonds formed in the snow-clad peaks of the Andes remained intact, even as the world around them changed. They had seen each other at their most vulnerable, shared in each other's pain and fear, and found solace in each other's strength. This camaraderie, born of shared suffering, became their shield against the world's judgment and their own self-doubt. The experience also changed their perspective on life. Many survivors spoke of how they learned to value the simple joys of existence, to cherish the warmth of a loved one's embrace, the taste of a home-cooked meal, the sight of a sunrise. Life, they realized, is not to be taken for granted. Every breath is a gift, every moment a treasure. Despite the horrific ordeal they endured, the survivors of Flight 571 refused to be defined by their past. They chose instead to forge a new narrative, one of resilience and hope. They became doctors, lawyers, architects, and authors. They built families, nurtured friendships, and contributed to their communities. They turned their trauma into a source of strength, a reminder of their ability to survive and thrive. This story stands as a testament to the indomitable human spirit, the will to survive, and the power of unity in the face of adversity. It is a reminder that even in the bleakest circumstances, hope can bloom, resilience can prevail, and humanity can shine. Every story, no matter how grim, carries lessons for us all. The harrowing account of the survivors of Uruguayan Air Force Flight 571 is no exception. It's a testament to the indomitable human spirit, a testament to resilience. It teaches us that when faced with unthinkable circumstances, we can dig deep into our reserves of strength and courage to survive. We learn about leadership, about making difficult decisions under pressure. The survivors had to make choices that no one should ever have to make, and yet, they did. They chose life in the face of death, hope in the face of despair. The story also underscores the value of life, the preciousness of every single breath. It reminds us that life is fragile, yet incredibly resilient. It's a paradox that can only be truly understood when one is teetering on the edge of existence. In the face of extreme conditions, the survivors of Flight 571 taught us that the strength of the human spirit knows no bounds.